Did you know that the first Indian to lead the Indian Air Force, the man who built it from a colonial wing into a modern force, was a Bengali, Subroto Mukherjee. Born in 1911 in Calcutta, educated at St. Paul's, Darjeeling, and later at the RAF College, Cranwell, he was one of the legendary Cranwell cadets, the very first Indians trained as military pilots under the British. The Brits expected them to remain symbolic. Subroto Mukherjee proved them wrong. In 1932, he became one of the first 6 Indian pilots commissioned into the Royal Indian Air Force. By 1941, he was already commanding number 1 squadron, the first Indian to do so, leading operations during the Second World War in the Northwest frontier. Officers who served under him wrote that he brought discipline, strategy, and dignity to an air wing that the Brits never expected to grow. When India became independent, the Air Force needed its own identity, new structures, new training, new leadership, a vision that went beyond the empire. It was Subroto Mukherjee who shaped that future. In 1949, he became the first Indian air officer commanding. In 1954, he became the Deputy Chief of Air Staff, and on the 1st of April 1954, he took charge as the first Indian Chief of Air Staff, the first Indian to command the entire Air Force. This was not just a change of uniform, it was the moment when India finally stood on its own wings. He modernized bases, pushed for indigenous training, expanded recruitment, strengthened strategic planning, and laid down core doctrines that the IAF still follows. Many of the institutions young pilots take for granted today began under his leadership. But behind the uniform was a human being loved by everyone. Officers still recall how he would quietly visit injured airmen in hospitals without any entourage. And then came the tragedy that shook the nation. 8th of November 1960. Subroto Mukherjee was in Tokyo representing India. After a dinner with Indian diplomats, he stepped out of a restaurant, paused to admire the street lights, and suffered a sudden heart attack. He was only 48. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was devastated. In Parliament, Nehru said, in him the Indian Air Force lost not only its chief, but one of its makers. A brilliant career had ended, but an entire Air Force stood on the foundation he built. Today, every young officer in the IAF salutes a legacy shaped by a Bengali who quietly, gracefully, fearlessly dreamt of an Air Force worthy of an independent nation. Bengal remembers Air Marshal Subroto Mukherjee. Do you?